are listening to a One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast that tells the stories of craft beer in Minnesota and beyond. So kick back, relax, and grab a cold one. The show starts now. Hello, my name is Dan Bobian, and I write, produce, and host a One Pint Stand. I'm ecstatic that you're listening. This podcast has been a passion project of mine since 2016. On this episode, I sit down with Paige and Rick Didora, two wonderful friends who I went to Louisville with this summer. We revisit our time together in the land of bourbon. We also talk about the craft beer scene in Louisville. Spoiler alert, Louisville has some great breweries. We also talked about some of the bourbon distilleries we went to. As always, when I get together with some of my favorite traveling pals, we have a lot of laughs, and there's a lot of it's like a stream of consciousness that kind of meanders all around. We stay on topic, we go off topic, and it's just really fun. They're both wonderful storytellers and great conversationalists. So let's head out to Steel Toe Brewing in St. Louis Park for my beer chat with Rick and Paige. Cheers. Welcome to another on-location episode of a One Pint Stand. My name is Dan Bobian, and we are sitting in the Steel Toe Brewing tap room, and it's their anniversary. And I'm being joined, I'm not just here by myself like a goon, I'm being joined by my two favorite travel companions, Rick and Paige. They came all the way from South Minneapolis to be here, and we're ecstatic to have them. They're fresh off a cooking stint. They got they had the private dinner situation happening tonight.
That's right.
For maybe a well-known person, but I'll let them decide whether if they want that out in the atmosphere or not. It was about almost a month ago.
Yeah.
We were
Feels more
hanging
recent.
out at the Minneapolis International Airport.
Much to their chagrin.
Much to their chagrin. I feel like they're like, hey, these people want to go to Louisville and walk a marathon, because I think they put us at the farthest possible gate from when you entered the airport.
And half the moving walkways were not in service.
Yeah, that's always a bummer. That's as close as I ever get to thrill seeking is trying to time the jump as you get off one of those things. Just kind of like,
it's a shoelace.
You know how the weather, the meteorologists will have the, UV index. Is it a good day? Is it a bad day? That's a good way to test the structural integrity of my ankles. It's a good or bad day. And if I go down like a sack of potatoes, just sail on without him. He's going to be here a while.
Just leave him behind.
And we went to Louisville, Kentucky.
We did.
For what would you call it, a reunion?
We couldn't come up with a name from day one. We tried to come up with a name, which is funny because the trip that we were replacing couldn't really come up with a good name for itself either. So we kind of talked about like beer retreat, beer gathering, nothing really quite stuck. So we're open to names. If you want to sponsor Dan's show, give us a good name.
Bingo.
Okay?
That's
right.
all I got. That's right. If you are really good at naming things, slide into my DMs and let's talk turkey. So hold on, let me adjust my legal pad here.
Dan's not a lawyer, but he plays one on this podcast.
That's right. I was very inspired by Lionel Hutz from The Simpsons, and I'm like, well, if this teaching gig doesn't pan out, I've already got the English major. So for people who are listening and are like, a reunion, did you all go to high school together? How did we meet? We met years ago. We met through the local beer community of fun people. But we also, both of you, had been to numerous beer blogger and writers conferences. And then in 2018, they decided to get fancy and change the name.
That's right.
To Beer Now.
Yeah, so it was formerly called, I think, the Beer Bloggers Conference.
I think at first it was the Beer Writers Conference, and then maybe Beer Bloggers Conference.
Yeah, and then they changed it to Beer Now, and basically what it was for many years was sort of a gathering of beer writers, beer influencers,
media,
beer media people, kind of from all over all over the world, mostly America, but there would often be some, a couple folks from Europe. We all remember Thomas from Poland, who tried
Everybody.
to kill us.
All of Poland remembers Thomas from Poland.
Which we love him, but
I'm
we almost
surprised
died.
he hasn't become like the leader of that country with all the people that were following him on that live stream, watching him eat his eggs Benedict at the Dogfish Head place.
And so I think it was a thing that lasted for a long time. COVID obviously shut it down, and then we came back in 2021, and they did this sort of like smaller thing. We went out to Vista Brewing in Austin, Texas.
Outside of Austin.
Outside of Austin, Farm Brewery, beautiful. It was all outdoors. Everything was social distance. We had a great time, ton of fun. And at the end of the conference, they had posed this question, like, do people want to keep this thing going? And unanimously, everyone was like, yeah, let's keep it going. We love it. We love seeing each other. We've all become friends over the years and all this. And they said, great.
Vista was like, sweet.
They said, yeah. And so the people who were in the conference, they're like, this is great, awesome feedback.
Not Vista,
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. I shouldn't say Vista.
Zephyr. Yeah.
Zephyr.
And they were like, and then they sent out an email about a month later and said, so we're canceling the Beer Writers Conference. We just don't want to do it anymore. Like, everyone was kind of like, okay. So hearts were broken.
Yes, hearts were broken. I was really bummed out because I only got to go to 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, how many did you all attend?
I think we went to maybe I personally started going maybe halfway through. I don't know. I should have done some research. How's your legal pad looking? But I should have looked up when it started. My first one was in North Carolina. So the main conference was in Asheville. So I went out there. I had some family friends out there, so I went out for a trip, and then I went out to Asheville. But I didn't do any the pre or post conference excursions.
Okay.
So we just went out for the conference itself, and then Rick went out there but did his own thing. So he didn't attend the
joined
conference.
the first 2 years I went out, and I just hung out. And so that was in North Carolina, in Asheville.
I'm sorry.
And
was
then
it 2015?
2015, I think. And
yes.
And then the second.
I think it was 2015.
Well, no.
Or was it 14?
I think 2014 must have been the Asheville one, because wasn't 2015 Tampa? And then 2015 was Asheville. 2016
I know
was
the
Tampa.
order of the cities. I just don't know the years.
Then Milwaukee, and then Virginia,
and then Great Falls, Montana.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I had joined. I actually officially registered in Milwaukee. That was the first year that I actually went as a registered.
You were my photographer.
I was Paige's photographer for her blog. But the 2 years before, I just kind of went and hung out, which I thought was really fun, actually.
In the city.
In the city, yeah. I didn't go to the conference.
You just awkwardly, just pick somebody to shadow them for the day.
And then the funny thing that happened was the conference. I would meet up with everyone, usually at a brewery,
for the social hours.
For the social hour, once everyone had been thoroughly pickled, and I would just kind of join up with this whole group of these just goofballs who are all beer writers and bloggers, and I was like, man, you guys are all crazy, but
it is really an interesting collection of personalities, philosophies, value systems, and everything. It's really interesting. A lot of people coming together just centered around beer. I think it's a good illustration for what beer is meant to do, to kind of bring a lot of different people together.
Yeah, when I went for the first time in Asheville, I had been blogging for a few years on my own, and I don't remember how I stumbled on this beer writers conference. I think I had saw someone else write about it, and I thought the concept of it was really interesting because I had really only been exposed to local blogs, with the exception of one person who had asked me to do a guest blog, and that was Brian Roth, who participates in the Beer Writers Conference. And so I wanted to get more exposure to other people, other beer markets. But when I went, a lot of people that were there knew each other, which makes sense because it had been going on for, I'm going to guess 5 years before that, because there was other cities like Portland and New Orleans and Chicago, I think New York, and maybe Nashville. That's the one I'm not sure about. But like a lot of people knew each other, and then there were like a few new people. So when I was coming in, it was cool because there was this community. I'm kind of shy, but I don't have a hard time like meeting people and like weaseling my way in, which I did. And then from there, I was there every year after that. So I feel like I was there when there was a good cohort of people, and then some new people came, some people kind of stopped coming over the years. But I'm still friends with people that were there from that my first time. Yeah. There's a very strong community. And then a few people dropped off. A few people, either stopped writing about beer and didn't want to participate, or, had families and had a hard time coming. But there was a pretty strong cohort, except for the last one, which was a lot smaller during COVID.
Yeah. Do you remember who was the first beer writer that you met?
Huck.
He was the first one?
Well, he's the first one that I remember by name. But actually, the first person that I met in person was Brian, because I had known him before I got there. He had me do a guest. He had this series. It was like every writer from a state did a 6-pack from their state, and write if you could pick a 6-pack and give it to someone. And so he had me do Minnesota, and I was really honored and excited to do that. And so I met up with him in Durham before the conference, and so I met him in person before. But in terms of like walking into a room and who do you notice, it's definitely Huck. There's no question.
Yeah.
And that will. I'm sure his name will come up.
That's right. That's right. In the camper.
Yes. He's a legend.
My favorite memory of Huck was like in the 2018 when we stayed overnight at the Dogfish Head Inn.
Yeah.
The next morning he was doing some combination of, I don't know if it was yoga or
Tai Chi.
A very slowed down version of Sweating to the Oldies, where he was just doing all these stretches, and I'm like, what is he doing? It's so. I have like 4 minutes of silent video of him just like doing all these.
We're on a podcast. They can't see
I know.
you.
Yeah.
Dan's waving his arms around slowly,
exactly,
rhythmically.
Some people are thinking, "Oh, that's cute. That man wanted to be an air traffic controller and he's doing a podcast instead." So, obviously, you said that the COVID kind of killed the vibe.
Yeah, I would say. I think maybe I don't know. Maybe it's not fair to say just COVID. I think it's
more the company. I don't. What I'm getting at is it wasn't.
I think
it wasn't
really
due to a lack of interest.
Tours anymore. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't even know if they're still
around. I think
around.
they morphed into like more of an like adventure type thing is what I heard. I think that's what somebody
more, like,
said.
Outdoorsy things.
Yeah. So, which I mean, I don't know. There's a demand. I mean, I would imagine if you have the resources, it's pretty easy to put something like that together. Get a bunch of people, a couple brewery tours, and you don't really need to plan.
Well, that's what we tried to do.
Like the wackiness just happens. It's just like great. And
but what Zephyr was capable of doing, I think, was actually hosting like a proper conference where they did have like presentations and special speakers. I mean, Julia Hers opened the weekend almost every time.
Oh, 100%.
And she was heavily involved, and it was always really interesting. We got our economic update from Bart Watson, Brewers Association. Like, there was all of this like big stuff about it. It wasn't just a bunch of like, beer bloggers with Cheeto dust complaining about hazy IPAs.
I mean, if that's the life you want to live, go for it.
There was a lot of crystal balling, for sure. I mean, just thinking about like the future of the industry. And they did. I mean, I wasn't trying to knock Zephyr for like folding. I think they did a really nice job, and they obviously secured a ton of corporate sponsorships that kept the cost of things down. It was a really nice balance of like education and tourism. It was a nice balance of national brands and brands that represented the city we were in. There was a lot of good to say. I wasn't trying to like gloss over all the things that they did.
And who can complain about starting a bottle share at 10 o'clock in the morning?
Or 10 o'clock at night.
Right,
or 10 o'clock at night.
And the hotel room karaoke. Like, there's just so many wonderful, great things that happened. Did you have a favorite conference or a favorite destination that you went to?
My top two were Milwaukee and Tampa, but for completely different reasons. They could not have been more different. I mean, I had never been to Tampa. Florida is a wacky place. Would I have ever gone there in July of my own will? Absolutely not. but it's tropical. The food was the best of the whole of every of all the trips we went on. It was amazing. The hospitality there was great. But then Milwaukee is a historic beer city, so that's completely different. Food also good, but in a totally different way. But also it was familiar to me in a way. I hadn't spent a ton of time there, but it's familiar that it's one state away. Yeah. And the German history is, to me, a little bit more interesting than like, okay, Tampa, it's a craft beer city, whereas Milwaukee, it's a historic and a craft beer city. Yeah. So those were my two tops. I think that Virginia and Great Falls were perfectly well planned, but, I mean, couldn't hold a candle to the others. Yeah. And I would say Asheville was a great city, but it was my first time, so I was just kind of like doe-eyed the whole time. Sierra Nevada, I would say the excursions in Asheville, top of the line. I mean, to get a tour of Sierra Nevada from Ken Grossman and a bunch of guys from Germany that were collaborating on brewing Marzen in the woods in Asheville, one of the most amazing experiences in my life. But for the whole conference, I was just kind of like overwhelmed. Yeah.
How about you, Rico Suave?
I think definitely Milwaukee. I have a real soft spot for that city. I think it's really cool. The food scene there is amazing. The beer scene is amazing. I think one of the coolest things about Milwaukee was that we got to hang out in like the historic Pabst facility.
And the Miller Caves.
And we got to tour the Miller Caves. Like, there was just so much amazing German-American beer history there that, like, you'd be hard-pressed to find in a lot of other cities. I mean, Milwaukee, for a long time, was like the behemoth. I mean, that was like the center of brewing in terms of beer, American beer. Like, that's where it was all coming from. Yeah. And so it was really neat. I remember all of our conferences were in, like, the historic the facilities. So you got like
at Pabst.
Yeah.
So I remember you could sit in Captain Pabst's chair.
That was a big plus. So was the venue for the conference itself.
And then it's like go a couple years later to Virginia, and it's like we were in a Hilton. And it's like, I get it. We're at a conference. We're in a hotel. I totally get it. But being at Pabst, and just the history of the space that we were in made everything so much more substantial. Yeah. The fact that you were sitting in these like historic rooms that were like carpeted with like this old wood and carvings. If the presenter was as boring as dirt, you could just look up at like stained glass or like the carved wood, the woodwork in the building or the furniture, and you'd just be like, I'm entertained. Like I'm learning so much just by existing here.
Yeah. I think each city had its own like ups and downs like that. I think Virginia, the conference room was a huge drag, and there was all these weird laws about opening beers and like the weird food truck moment.
That was frustrating.
But then going to the farm breweries and that first night at like the silos, the farm brewery concept was really interesting. We went to like a couple breweries in one night that were proximal to each other that were like on farms. That was so interesting. And then the pre and post excursions I couldn't attend, but like going to Richmond I heard was really cool. Yeah. There were a couple of other cities I think before I got involved that I forgot. San Diego for sure was one. Denver for sure was one.
Okay.
Yeah. So I probably attended just less than half probably.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Milwaukee was really fun just because I had been there before, but I think it's different. You go to a city with a bunch of people and you don't have to plan anything, and you're just like kind of along for the ride. I didn't really know too many people other than the two of you, and then Brendan Keneally from, at the time he was at Summit, was there with Eric. Yeah. So that was those. I mean, I knew 4 people. Yeah. Actually, I take that back. I knew 5. I had met Carla the summer before
when you went on your trip.
When I went to the East Coast.
Can we swear on the podcast?
Absolutely.
Brendan Keneally. What was it? What's up, motherfuckers? Like really we like barely knew him. We're just like, hi.
Yeah, that was really funny. He really made quite the impression. That's true. Actually, when I was in Asheville, Chip Walton was there.
Oh yeah,
but I didn't know him very well. But he was super nice, and that was nice to have a familiar face.
Yeah.
He was, when I went to Asheville last summer. He told me to get the steak tartare at Wicked Weed because that's what he had, and I'm like, I didn't do it.
I was a mistake.
I got the fish and chips instead. I know. I'll go back someday.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have another chance.
So, Beer Now shuts down. With heavy hearts, I think there was a lot of disappointment. However, it was nice that some of us kind of kept those friendships going, which in the age of social media and different things like that, it's a lot easier to do that. I mean, I remember when back in the day, there was a gal who stole my heart in first grade and then moved.
Right.
I never saw her again. It's like she joined witness protection. But now, in the age of social media, it's possible. It's a lot easier to keep up relationships, and that's what like some of us have done. We've done Zoom happy hours. I think that was also a COVID thing to kind of like replace a little of that. You know, oh, we can't meet up in person. Let's get online, and that became kind of fun. We'd do a gift exchanges.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember we went to the ice box poking
Yes.
at
Northbound?
Northbound, and you said something to me. You're like, "Well, we got to get going. We've got the gift exchange," and I'm like, "It's only 3:30. It's not till 5." Well, 5 o'clock Eastern
Central
time
is 4.
is different. Than, And I was like, "Oh." And so on my way back, I stopped at Arbiter, and I get my phone is going off, and it's like, "Are you coming to the gift exchange?" I'm like, "Oh no!" I have a hard time with
that is one thing
long
about our group
division
is
and time zones.
We're
Really
in every time zone.
throw me for a loop.
Yeah.
That's a little wacky. So
Right, yeah.
we did a gift exchange, a lot of different things. Now, I know we'd always, people always say, "Hey, we should get together." I feel like that's a very Minnesotan thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen somebody, "Hey, let's get together," and then you know, both parties know that it's not going to happen. Like I got enough stuff. I got to do laundry. I got to, mow the lawn. I don't have.
I gotta
time
see
to get
people I
together.
don't like. I don't have time to see people I do like.
Right, exactly.
Wash the car, feed the hogs, still got those bills to pay.
But, we said it enough times that idea took hold. Now, you, Michelle, and Dave were kind of the three-headed hydra that planned this amazing...
The Bermuda Triangle.
The Bermuda Triangle of fun.
Right.
Let's call it that. You all decided to not only just talk the talk, but walk the walk and put into motion
Yeah.
the planning of this thing. What was that like?
Well, I think we had a few things on our side. And the first thing is that we were used to only seeing each other periodically. So it wasn't really that weird. Like, it wasn't like your first grade crush where you see her every day in school and then all of a sudden, poof, she's gone.
Yeah.
It was that we were used to only seeing each other once a year. And then we already had a bit of a delay with the last conference. And we're all pretty media savvy because that's how we all knew each other. So we knew we would be able to kind of put something together and that we could stay kind of fast friends without seeing each other in person. Plus, Michelle and Aloe and some other people were really good about putting together a lot of virtual hangs for different groups or all of us from time to time. So we had interfaced online a lot. So it wasn't like out of the blue we were like trying to plan this family reunion.
Right.
So it didn't feel... And we'd also done one Oktoberfest party. I think it was between 20.
Yes.
I think it was before Austin, I believe.
It was
That
like
was really
2021.
Yeah, 2021.
Yeah.
So was
you
it
did a
some-
brat thing.
Yeah, Rick did a brat demo.
Yeah, that was
I did
really
like
great.
a trivia.
Yeah, you did a trivia.
Someone did a
and
music.
we had Oompa music playing
That's
the whole
right.
time. And Dave, if I remember correctly, had to start a second chat through Zoom.
Yeah.
And then feed the audio of that into
Yeah,
it. Was
Dave's
the
a
only way to
wizard.
make it work
Right.
so that it was running the whole
And then
time.
we did a little bit of a charitable contribution, which was cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was
yes,
fun.
that was
so
really
we kind
fun.
of kept the fire going. But
Yeah.
getting together in person, it's like, not everyone is going to be able to make it, but
Yeah.
we cast a pretty wide net with the hopes that people would want to make it happen. Enough people express interest. And again, we knew that we'd only gotten together once a year for the last, 12 years. So we started out by Dave, to answer your question of actually making it happen, Dave, Michelle, and I each took a couple of cities that we researched and tried to figure out what would seem accessible to everyone, meaning kind of central, maybe places we hadn't been as a group, places with good beer, and places that had relatively inexpensive flights for most places. So that was kind of the criteria.
Yeah.
So a lot of them were in the middle. Michelle refuses to set foot in Michigan, so that was out. We didn't want to go to a city where people lived. I mean, we didn't totally rule it out, but we didn't want to go to a city where people really lived because we wanted it to feel like a vacation for everyone. So that narrowed it down a little bit. And then, yeah, I think Michelle took like maybe Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, I want to say, Indianapolis. I took Louisville, Lexington, maybe Cincinnati. I can't remember. And then we researched them. We kind of gave each other some pitches to one another. And then we had a small group vote, and then we had a large group vote.
Okay.
And so that's how we got to Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you found out that Louisville was the destination,
Yeah.
what was your initial reaction?
I was pretty excited. I felt like it worked really well because, one, it was very central. Flights were dirt cheap.
Yeah, I couldn't believe.
I mean, my
airfare.
gosh. But
Holy
also,
cats.
I think one thing that we've learned, especially in our like group of people, is that a lot of us like focus on beer, but have all these other different like specialities.
That's true.
And
Yeah,
then
we try to think about non-beer things too.
Right, and then other things that we're just like generally interested in. I mean, an entire weekend of beer content is great, but it is a little bit overwhelming. Like we would often joke that like after Beer Now, we would have to like detox for a week and just
Yeah,
like
that's right.
not even think about beer because it's like, man, you just took in so much information. So Louisville, and obviously I was bearing witness to a lot of Paige's research. And I just
Yeah, I'm really
Exactly.
insufferable when I'm researching something.
and I think like what was really cool is I was like, man, there's so much to do there. Like it's small, it's compact, it's easy to kind of get around. There's the Louisville Slugger Museum, which can appeal to sports fans and not sports fans alike.
And people who are fascinated with wood.
With wood,
'Cause
which
it's
we
like
learned a lot
maple,
about wood. Ash,
Pine,
Birch.
ash, and birch. Yeah.
And I think that like when Louisville was picked, I was like, man, like everyone's gonna have a good time. Like there's something for everyone here.
Horses.
There's horses. The food scene is remarkable. I mean, we had really good food while we
Yeah,
were
we
there.
did.
And then the other thing as a bunch of beverage people is like you've got bourbon, which
yeah.
I think a lot of us kind of like dip our toes into it at the very least. Or if
Yes,
you're a
we
little,
did.
or if you're slightly more normal, you might actually drink it and
Yeah.
consume it. And I think me, I like bourbon a lot, but I think I'm like a lot of other people where it's like, yeah, I like it, but I'm also like, I don't know all the time where to begin with it. I know what I
Same.
like, but
Yeah.
I don't really know a lot of the ins and outs. And so to go to a place like that and to be like, oh, we're going to take actually distillery tours and we're going to learn about the ins and outs. And I think that was something that made it really exciting. That it's
Yeah.
like we don't have to just focus on beer the whole time. We can actually look at other things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about you,
I
Paige?
agree. Yeah, I mean, I was excited. It was one of the cities that I researched. I will say so I like to travel a lot, and we travel domestically a lot, and we try to think about, what are kind of the undiscovered places or things about places, and some of the things that we thought we wanted to do or planned to do didn't really come to fruition. Like none of the sports teams except for one were in town when we were there, and so that didn't really come to be. And so you have to kind of be creative about what is a group going to be interested in doing, what is actually realistic to do. It was only a weekend, we were only we were only there.
Yeah,
from
we flew in on Thursday.
Yeah, and most people, our
And a lot of
formal
people left
itinerary
on
was
Sunday.
exactly, and our formal itinerary was really Friday noon till Sunday night, knowing that a lot of people would be Thursday night till Monday morning, which is what a lot of people did do. So we didn't want to cram too much in, as my parents like to say. But we also wanted people to feel like they were kind of getting their time's worth. And so I tried to think about the pacing. I tried to think about what Beer Now was like. I tried to run it by people to be like, does this seem like enough? Does it seem like too much? So I know this is kind of beyond the scope of what you asked, but I was really looking forward to kind of learning how to plan group travel. I'd never done that before. I'd really only done it for us. But I tried to model it after what we'd done with previous Beer Nows, knowing that there wouldn't be as much formal education.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I was looking forward to it. I was looking forward to some of the group things, but also some independent time. I know that was something Michelle brought up because as being the co-planner, Michelle was not one of the conference attendees because her partner is. And so she was the person who was running off and going to the ice cream museum while we were all learning about CO2 recapturing systems.
Yes.
So it was a good, counterpoint from her to say, we should have independent downtime, which I like as well. So it was a nice, I think we had a nice trio of us. Dave did a lot of the tech behind the scenes kind of encouragement and email blasts and that sort of thing. And then Michelle and I could think about bouncing ideas off of each other. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was really well planned.
Thanks.
I mean, having 14 people there
Yeah.
was because it's what I really appreciated. It's quite a different span.
What do you mean?
Age-wise,
Oh, yes.
just
It was
some
very-
people
yeah.
are located in a more urban area.
Yep.
Some people are more rural, and it's just kind of fun to bring everybody together and like, okay, we're gonna navigate this city together. I also appreciated how compact everything was. Let me flip my legal pad over here.
I think I just burped into the microphone.
That's right. We'll save that for the Patreon. That's right. Want to hear funny noises for $1 a month?
Not foot pictures, but just burps.
No, we're not doing feet pics, not yet. When we pick our next destination and airfare is expensive, that's when I'll have
That's
to
right.
bust out the big guns. No, seriously, my feet,
My feet are actually really small.
ridiculously weird looking. They're ginormous. My toes are like ET fingers, and there's like a patch of hair that's in the shape of Idaho on each
toe?
dog. It's on like the center, like a hobbit, like a Colombian hobbit. It's
I mean, at least
very
it's
strange.
symmetrical.
I'm glad you described
Yeah.
this so well.
Yeah, well, I spend a lot of time.
Idaho is one of the destinations we were considering.
Really?
Yeah.
What's in besides? Would we have done the russet potato tour? That was.
I mean, that would have comprised. That would have been at least 3 days.
The
I feel
Russet
like.
Potato
Right,
Tour is just
exactly.
a field.
Yeah, that's right. Really, it's okay. You fly over
Nothing
it.
else.
When you get, yeah, that's a good question. What were some of the other
well,
locations that
the
we were
other
thinking
locations were, okay, I know for sure Michelle researched Philadelphia, Pittsburgh.
Wasn't
I
Cincinnati
think
up there?
Cincinnati, Indianapolis. I did Louisville, Lexington. Maybe I think I had Indianapolis and she had Cincinnati.
about?
I
Okay.
don't think Dave did any research. Dave.
Jesus.
No, he
Dave.
was building the website.
The audacity. The Dave City.
He was eyes up to his eyes and zeros and ones.
And then there were
cut
other,
the man
like,
some slack.
There were other like tertiary places we talked about that were like either not interesting enough, but like we would talk about doing like a weekend. Well, this was just a weekend, but like we talked about like maybe we would do on the off season. Like a couple of people, me included, would wanted to do Cleveland, to do like to go to Great Lakes. I know you've Dan been to Great Lakes, but we were trying to think of like things in the middle. But on Rick and I on our drive over, we were talking about like other places that are like kind of adjacent to big beer cities, like not Denver, but like maybe Colorado Springs. But like I know we've talked about doing Boise, or like we talked about, we've been to Omaha, but I know Michelle said maybe Omaha would be on her list. So we were talking about maybe doing it again, and maybe other people would want to chime in on cities that I haven't thought of.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. I think I mean, all of those sound. I think it, and also, I mean, coming back to kind of like the whole like, at its core, this is really just a gathering of friends.
Exactly. We
I mean,
can
could
have
just
fun anywhere.
Gone to like a La Quinta Inn and Suites in Toledo and brought Monopoly. We would have had the time of our lives. What was your?
I think it's pronounced La Quinta.
We're gonna go to commercial now. When we come back to the, oh God, I'm gonna have the folks at Babbel I just lost that sponsorship. Well, okay.
We're not going to Albuquerque. That was on Rick's list.
Albuquerque would be really interesting.
Albuquerque would be
Albuquerque's
amazing.
a really cool city.
Yeah.
It's a really
Everyone's
cool
like
city.
Santa Fe, but no, it's Albuquerque now.
Santa Fe is cool, but I feel like okay.
Are you just saying that because people are listening?
Yes, we went to Santa Fe.
You're too kind. Let's be honest. When you say people are listening, it's really.
We went to Santa Fe for like a week, and we spent a few days there, and it was great. Ish. We had a really hard time figuring it out. We struggled.
Did people keep saying La Quinta?
Yes, in Santa Fe, they don't know how to
No, we struggled with a lot of like kind of random things. Like everyone was like, "Oh, the food's going to be amazing," and then it was I was not moved
Everything was
by
very
the
wet.
food. Everything was wet. I felt like everything was just kind of covered in sauce. And I was
Anywho,
like,
all we wanted to do was go back to Albuquerque.
so then we went to Albuquerque, and I was like, oh my gosh, the city's so cool. It's really awesome. But Santa Fe does have Meow Wolf.
Right.
And Santa Fe has a ton of really cool breweries. And Albuquerque also has a ton of really cool breweries. And the desert is beautiful. I'd never been to the desert before. I was not prepared for how beautiful it was.
Yeah.
I was a little bit like wrapped in it. Like I was like, we did a drive up to one of the sites of the Manhattan Project, Las Cruces.
No. The other one. We always forget the name.
Anyways.
It's pronounced
This is
Las
great
Cruces,
content.
Rick.
Las Cruces. And we were driving up, and we like stopped at one point, and I was just like, this is insane. Like, just look around at how beautiful this place is. So I think that if our crew were to do like a New Mexico thing, there might be a lot more like engagement in terms of like doing outdoorsy stuff.
Sure.
Going for
Yeah.
a hike in the desert.
What about like Arizona? Like something over there.
Arizona,
Something
yeah.
just off the beaten
I would
path.
be so petrified of seeing a snake.
I've seen them.
Well, I'll join that one virtually. like you saw a snake in New Mexico?
No, Rick just saw snakes when he was hiking the other day.
Yeah, I was just hiking in
Here?
Yes.
Here, yeah, in
Little
Minnesota,
garter
in
snakes.
the lovely state of Minnesota. Yeah, we got snakes here. Yeah, they say hi.
I'm moving
by the
to
way.
Hoth. This is Louisville. I was before we kind of start talking specifically about breweries. I think just overall, what were your general impressions of the Louisville beer scene?
Somebody said, maybe it was you, Rick, that they clearly have to compete with the brown spirit scene.
Mm-hmm.
And so they are kind of in this arms race to be impressive, quality, worth visiting. And I think we had very, very, with rare exception, we had very, very good beer.
Yeah.
And I think very good service. A lot of breweries had a lot of options, food options. I mean, I was very pleased.
Yeah, actually, I think it was somebody at a brewery who said that. I think it was a bartender or someone that we were talking to that said like, Louisville.
Here I thought it was you.
Well, I mean, I'll take the credit for it. I think it was a bartender who had said like, here in Louisville we have to compete with brown spirits. They said brown spirits are untouchable. And as a result, breweries kind of got a band together. And because of that, it really created this. I thought it was after we toured. Yeah.
Was it the tour?
After we toured.
Oh my gosh.
Shoot.
1020.
Yes, 1020.
1020.
Yep.
He had made a
Shannon said
comment.
that.
Yeah, Shannon made this comment sort of at the end that was like, yeah, we have a really strong
Yeah.
community here, and it's partly because we kind of have to. The distilleries, they're all doing their thing, and that's fine. Like the distilleries are going to be just okay, but the breweries are kind of this like fledgling thing in bourbon country where they've got to figure their own game out. And I think as a result, the consumer can rest assured that you're not going to drink a lot of bad beer in that town.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to be looking out for each other. Everyone seems to be making really good beer. And again, Shannon, that tour guide, had mentioned, like, if someone's short on supplies, they can just text their buddy at whatever brewery and they'll run it over, no problem. So I think the sense of community in the beer scene there was really palpable. And I also think that just in general, the beer that we had was great.
Yeah.
I can't really pinpoint a spot that we went where I was just kind of like, eh. I mean, there after the barbecue, there was that one
I was
weird
gonna say,
spot.
That
And-
last one.
And
I don't even remember the name of it. Like Skalanka Brewing or something.
Yeah.
Sakalka.
Yeah, that was totally unplanned.
And we
Yeah.
just had like a couple little guys, and like it was whatever. But part of the thing, I mean,
A shaka?
Yes, a shaka.
I think one of the things
Yeah.
there is that the general aroma in the room was kind of a lot. Like when you walked in, it smelled like a musty attic or a basement. Like the place kind of
Right.
smelled moldy.
You're right. Yes, it did.
And so then it's like, then you like sample the beer and you're
Did
like,
you look at the aquarium?
no.
No, I'm serious. I know
Did
I'm
it need a
serious. The
cleaning?
fish, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
That's not good.
Yeah.
And then it's like, so then you're trying to have an experience with beer, and you're just like, I don't know, like all I can smell is like Grandpa's old slippers, and that's not the best smell when it comes
Great name
to
for a beer.
Yeah, when it comes to a beer.
Grandpa's old slippers.
But
I'll take the barley wine.
but outside of that, I mean, I think the impression was the question was the impression of the beer.
I asked, what's the capital of Washington State?
Oh,
Without, no
good
cheating.
gravy.
Don't look at your note cards.
That's going to be
Of Washington State. He's not even an American.
Well, that's
New York City.
Got to learn eventually, Paige. No, I was just kind of asking like overall impressions,
Yeah.
and I think we all kind of agreed that it was for sure. That's a nice thing about when you go someplace new.
Oh, yeah.
That where you don't hear anything about beer because of the bourbon, you have zero expectations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's a nice way to walk into something like that, and then you allow yourself to really be blown away. What were some of your favorite breweries?
I really like 1020. I was kind of like, I don't know, that morning I was kind of dragging, or that day I was kind of dragging, so I didn't like have a lot of different beers, but I had the ones I tasted I really, really liked. I mean, there were probably only one or two breweries that I didn't enjoy. I really liked, what was the first brewery of our...
The all black building.
Atrium.
Atrium. I loved
Yes.
Atrium.
Yep,
I thought
Atrium.
Home of the Louisville Milko Pour.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
Atrium
right.
I liked.
We did a quick. Was it a reel?
Yeah.
Did a reel with you there?
That was like
Atrium?
the maiden voyage of my TikTok account.
I know, it was delightful. Atrium and Trellis, which were back-to-back, were two of my favorites of the trip.
Trellis was a surprising hit. Only
Yeah.
about half of us went there, and they'd only been
Not
open.
even. Four of us went
only
there.
4 of us. And they were open for what, 6 months?
No,
No, it was like a month.
3 weeks.
It's like
It was like- it
3
was like,
weeks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Outstanding beer. And then
The reason I knew it was going to be good is because the whole weekend we kept seeing other breweries' staff wearing their merch.
Yeah,
Yep.
wearing their gear.
The guy at
And-
1020 had a trellis hat.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went,
Shannon.
to Trellis, we noticed a lot of people who were sitting like at the bar seemed to be like industry.
Yeah.
And so Trellis definitely had that vibe of like, these are the new kids on the block. They're making great beer. I think anyone who missed that spot, like, not to give you serious FOMO, but
Well, I mean,
that was a great
but
spot.
doesn't that speak to the gamble of going to a new brewery?
Totally.
Because I know, like, when I was like telling people, like, hey, like, we're gonna go, from spot to spot today on like our big gallivant on Saturday. It was 4 breweries in a row, and I knew the first and last one had food, and I was like, you can walk, you can Uber, you can do whatever, and
Scooter.
when we mapped it, sometimes when you map things ahead of time, you get different results than when you map it when you're in the city, which is like maddening. But I get it, Google, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there at Atrium and we're mapping it, and we see Trellis come up. And granted, it could have opened between the last time I mapped it and when we
Right.
got there. So we're mapping this walk, and it's close. And Rick wanted to take some photos, and I was like, well, whatever, we'll just pop in. And I know Jeff and Chris and some other people were like, brand new brewery, I don't know. And some people looked at Untapped and were like, well, their ratings. And I do not fault anyone for not wanting to go. We already had enough on the itinerary,
Sure.
totally. But when we walked by, and I was like, let's just give it a shot. And I had low expectations. I had a half pour of something. I was like, I'm just going to get one. And it was really good. And it was a cool space. And it was like in this really kind of like rundown, like not rundown, what's the word? It was like kind of an old industrial area that had been allowed to go into disrepair. And you could tell that it was parts of it were trying to rebuild. Like I would equate it to like kind of where Surly is, where like there's the stacks.
Oh, yeah.
Like the old smokestacks.
That's a really good
and,
comparison. Yep.
Like now there's the bike trail and everything that's kind of rebuilding in there. So not gentrifying. It's more like an industrial area that's being
Like a
rebuilt to be
forgotten
safe
industrial
again.
place.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
I think so. I wound up going there
later on.
a couple
yeah.
nights later because everybody
I knew you
raved
would.
about it.
Yeah.
Well, you said they had a ESB, so I was sold. And when I went there, they were doing their version of a Kolsch service,
Cool.
a Kentucky Common service,
I had
and
the
they had
Common. I loved it.
Derby glasses,
Nice.
like the little old school glasses at the Kentucky Derby that they
my
serve the mint juleps. And there's this guy in like this.
Did you
like-
love it?
Yeah, it was really good. I stayed for quite a while.
Yeah,
I
it's a
closed.
cool space.
I closed her down, Paige,
Yeah.
and then I had a lift back, and it was
Yeah.
glorious.
But you know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like it's hard to describe, but I would say it's kind of like, if you're from the Twin Cities, it's kind of like Surly in that it's actually an old industrial area that probably took a ton of environmental cleanup.
Well, and I also think it's like one of those places in Louisville that's maybe a little rough around the edges. The bartenders were saying that they're like, we're only open till 10 because we didn't want people like here till all hours. It's not the safest neighborhood.
Right.
But I think they said it will, like, because of the close proximity to some of the other places, it will start to kind of maybe other like food, like restaurants will kind of come in and it'll start to kind of create an energy similar to Northeast in Minneapolis.
Right. But it's not that it's pushing other things out because it's actually
there's like just like a bunch of
an industrial space.
Industrial spaces, a lot of old parking lots with weeds growing in the cracks in the cement and they're not going to kick anybody out.
It will be a positive thing because that's probably one of the first things in that area.
Yeah. So you liked Atrium, Trellis.
I did.
What was one of your favorites?
I liked Gallant Fox, even though it was kind of a quick.
Yeah,
Gallant Fox was really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think Atrium is definitely like one of the top on my list. I'm a sucker for Pilsners, and when I walk into a place and they've got like 4 different Pilsners, I'm like, yep, let's go. Like, let's try them all. And and I was very impressed in there. I was also like really just generally very inspired that day. And it was kind of like our biggest day. We had all this stuff going on, and that was a great place, I think, for our crew to like start the day off.
That's right. We started at Eggs on Frankfurt.
That was fun.
Yep. And then after Eggs, we all made our way over to Atrium, and I was like, this is a great way to start. Like, they have something for everyone. The staff are super great. I really enjoyed Atrium. I thought that was really cool spot.
Yeah.
And I also liked a couple of us went to Gravely.
Gravely was really good too.
5 of us went to Gravely the day after the official.
Yeah, that was Monday night.
Yeah, that was really nice. I really liked it. It was funny. It was like, again, there's so many breweries in that town. You could have done a whole other brewery walk, half a mile east. That was really, really nice.
Yeah.
Well, Gravely, and then after Gravely, remember we went to the High Wire where we got to meet Mr. Personality himself.
Oh, my God.
The world's grumpiest bartender.
The strangest bartender.
Oh, my Lord.
Like, do you want my money?
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, he was...
and then we had some very good pizza.
Oh,
we
did.
The
Wise Guys
Noble
Pizza.
Funk? Noble Funk Brewery?
I did.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I had an unfortunate incident there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Just
that's
bad. I wouldn't even say. I would say non-existent service.
Really?
And I was there, 2:30 in the afternoon on probably a Thursday. Wednesday or Thursday?
We were there on a Wednesday. We were there on Wednesday before we flew out.
No, so it was the day after you were there.
Okay.
So I went there with high expectations, and I was like trying to order a beer. There's 3 people behind the bar. There's 1 person other than me at the bar. Obviously, it was a restaurant, so there were other people at tables.
Yeah.
But like they just kept talking to the other guy at the bar because he was like friends with them. And I was like, and then I'm like, well, I guess I'll close out. And they're like, oh yeah, you've been closed out. I'm like, well, I didn't say I was going to close out. I'm like, did you close me out to the other guy who was like kind of twiddling his thumbs and not doing his job? He's like, no, your stab's still open. Do you want anything? I'm like, no, I'm leaving now. It was just
oh my gosh, that could not be any more different from us.
Yeah.
I was so impressed when we were there because there was a really diverse staff. I don't think there was a single white male in the whole place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really nice people. The pizza guy was really nice. And it would like a huge storm rolled in while we were there, like scary. Like I was worried our flight wasn't going to take off in a few hours. Everyone was so nice. They were like explaining the beers. So it's just, that goes to show.
Yeah.
It just goes to show not everybody has the same experience.
It can be a different experience.
I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't your fault. It was the dude behind the bar. And I got a flight and I'm like, oh, some of these are good. I want to try some of these other ones.
Yeah, their beers
and
were so good.
I was like making eye contact. I popped like 3 buttons. It was very
pressed hands.
Hey, it was I couldn't. I should have like fired off one of those like emergency flares you find in a boat, and that would have maybe. But then
I know what you mean.
So it's just was just kind of a bummer. But I had high hopes.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna take a break. I see some empty glasses,
break the seal.
and and I'm gonna go roll the seal. So when we come back, we're just gonna talk about travel in general. Hey, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully, you're enjoying a One Pint Stand. My aim is to help spread the word about craft beer.
Enjoying craft beer is a passion of mine, and I love chatting about it with other people. A One Pint Stand has a goal of helping breweries tell their stories. I love to get out in and beyond Minnesota to visit breweries, beer bars, and meet other interesting beer people. If you're also into those things, you probably want to keep tabs on the show. So make sure that you are following A One Pint Stand on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I also recently started a TikTok account because I was tired of Charles calling me a boomer for not having one. We'd also appreciate any and all positive reviews on Spotify and Apple Music. What that does is it makes it easier to find the podcast for other like-minded craft beer listeners. So if you want to be a supporter of the podcast with some of that extra change you find in your couch cushions, I started a Patreon. There are 3 different monthly levels of support. They are priced at $1, $3, or $5 amounts. If you pledge at the $3 pint hoister level or the $5 keg stander level, you get some pretty cool perks. So go to patreon.com and search A One Pint Stand and check it out. I'm really excited. We are growing our number of supporters. We are up to 9 Patreon supporters. So that's really exciting for me. One thing you should note, because it is a craft beer podcast, it is under the 18 and over thing. So that's why it's not anything lewd or lascivious. So, but yeah, if you're interested in supporting the show via Patreon, search up A One Pint Stand, and it's very easy to do. If you like reading about craft beer, you should check out my written work on aonepintstand.com. I've been working a lot on wrapping up my Seattle trip and again into a couple articles of the Louisville trip. And those articles will be coming out every couple of weeks. I'm also going to be doing a preview article for Autumn Brew Review, and that will be out in about a week. So there is a lot of craft beer content coming on aonepintstand.com. So I truly appreciate you listening and taking time to enjoy our stories. Now back to the show.
How about a beer?
Before we put a fine point on the discussion about Louisville, I always love to, obviously we talked about some of our favorite places. I always think it's fun to kind of talk about like the unexpected surprise or like the hidden gem, something that maybe, we kind of mentioned Trellis, but like, were there any other spots that we went to? It doesn't even necessarily have to be a brewery where you were like, you know what, that experience, had we missed out on that, would have been really unfortunate. So what place has really like jumped out as being like, wow, that was excellent?
Well, I mean,
There's no script.
well, I was thinking about Shippingport, but now that you
No, I have to say, I have one.
okay, so you have one. Go ahead, go for it.
Not everybody all at once. No. Well, I feel like we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Copper and Kings.
Oh my word!
Oh well.
We
spent
had
a week there once.
that was an
amazing.
Incredible experience at Copper and Kings, which if you've not heard of it or had it, it's a brandy distillery that uses bourbon barrels for finishing their spirits. And so that's part of why they're located in Louisville. But the 3 of us got a private tour of Copper and Kings because some jerk stores didn't want to go on the tour once they found out that Butchertown actually smells like a butcher shop. Shocking. If you've been to the State Fair, you know what Butchertown smells like.
That's right.
But we got a tour from a guy who is a local, lives in Butchertown.
His name is Daniel.
Yes, it was
great name, great guy.
Could not have been a better experience. We got the tasting of a lifetime. I think we all needed a nap afterwards, but we had Spanish food instead.
Went to a Cuban
liver
restaurant
transplant.
Not Spanish, sorry, Cuban. Oh my gosh, it was just so cool. They're aging in the basement, and they use sound to get vibration in the barrel.
I can't remember what the word is for that, but he had the word. Yeah, it was like sonic.
Sonic agitation.
Sonic agitation.
Was
that's
that
right.
what he was calling
it? And he showed us.
That's what I call it when you snore at night.
Hey.
But the
And
three of
he
us just had such a good time.
But he showed us, like he had us down there in the basement cellar, and one of the cutest things is they had this like whiteboard that was like the day of the week, and then it was like what musician's like birthday is it or whatever, and so that's how they build their playlist.
Yeah.
And then he told us, he was like,
Okay.
He was like, put your hands on the barrels.
Dan forgot.
And he's like,
no, I knew they did. I couldn't remember how they generated the playlist.
Right.
That was
And he said, put your hands on the barrels, and I'm gonna turn the volume up to what we let these agitate at.
Yeah.
And I mean, to the human eardrums, it was loud. It was loud, but the cool thing,
old dad was struggling. Yeah, that was very jarring to the inner ear.
But the tactile experience of putting your hand on that barrel. And
you could understand how it would get the liquid into the wood instead of the changes in heat.
Yeah, and feeling that vibration.
But I mean, he let
us
sample things that he said he wasn't supposed to, that we probably should mention on the air. But one thing involved using, hanging meat over the still, which is a really traditional thing in Central America, which was super cool to try. They did a project with some it was a version of Pachuga, exactly. And they've done things with breweries where they've used their beer to distill, and they've put that into different barrels. And I mean, it was just really impressive, really high touch, high quality tour. The chef came out and he didn't have to do that, and he brought us some bites to pair with a beer. And
I ate the
some
brisket
people
too
ate
soon.
it with
I
the
know.
wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like, no,
I mean, it was
you
just-
all should have 2 pieces of brisket.
Exactly.
Rick is like, whoa.
But they have
I've
a
got
rooftop.
the whole plate in my mouth
like,
already. I'm like,
It's too late. You can't go back. The bell's been rung. They have a rooftop and they have a patio, and they have really different types of tours. They have chef's tours. So if you're ever in Louisville, I highly recommend it. I mean, the hospitality was over the top. In terms of secret hidden gems, we found the cutest, tiniest little bourbon bar that's like 6 seats called Stitch. That was inside a leather company that I'm totally forgetting the name of. It starts with an N.
You bought a belt from them.
Yeah, it's a really high-end leather company, but inside is a bourbon bar called Stitch, and the bartender was delightful. He gave us some samples of things. We watched rugby and talked about how crazy it was because it was the Olympics. Highly recommend. Really, really, really nice spot.
Yeah, Stitch was really wonderful. I totally agree. And that was like this like funny little, not nightcap.
We
It was
didn't even know if it was like open to the public.
It was like this mid-afternoon on a Monday, I think, and we were just kind of wandering around, and a lot of the stores where we were wandering were closed or they had limited hours.
No, they were open.
Well, some were closed, but we walked into this like leather goods store, and it's like you walk into a leather goods where they make the stuff, and that smell like it's so deep and like intoxicating, and it's one of those. It's the funny thing is that's one of those aromas that you pick up a lot in bourbon, and.
I didn't even think of that, but
So
that's
like,
perfect.
We like walk in, we're like, man, this place is like, okay. And so we're like looking at all the products, it's like some stuff you're like, oh, that's so beautiful. And then it's like, I pick up a wallet. I'm like, I'm obsessed with this wallet. It's $175. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't afford this place. But then there's like other random things like we
got my parents some coasters as a
we
pet
got some
sitting
like personalized coasters, cute stuff like that. And then we were like, oh, like why don't we go get a drink after this? Because all that shopping got online.
It's important to hydrate.
Monday,
and it's Monday, and I like looked around the corner and I was like, well, there appears to be a bar in this actual store.
Yeah.
And we were both like, well, it's not real. Like it's probably just part of
mirage.
or it's part of the motif, right? Like they're like, oh yeah, and then we have this like bar section.
Probably just a coaster testing station.
Right, something silly like that. And then I pull out my phone and I search cocktails near me, and it comes up right away. Stitch now open.
Apparently we're standing on it.
Truly, it was like you're right there, and I was like, apparently this is a real thing. And so Paige got a belt, and I was like, should we go check it out?
I bought a belt from the store. That sounded weird.
Yeah, she purchased a belt. She didn't just walk out with it.
Like we must have
tried it out.
We must have libations now.
And so and we just we just sat down at the bar like a couple of dummies, and the bartender was just like, warm and welcoming and fun and just like wanted to
He wanted
hang
to talk
out.
about like cocktail ingredients. Like we were talking about like making hop tinctures and yeah,
he
very
wanted to, and he had a lot of opinions about beer, which I thought was really interesting because the majority of his opinions were that beer is too hoppy, it's too dry.
Well, he said he liked girly beer, which I thought was funny.
Which is funny. He's like, give me the fruitiest beers on the planet. That's
He would have
what I
been
want
very
to
at
drink.
home at Fat Pants the first week they opened because they had a whole girl menu. That's a
And he
whole
like
other
let you
episode.
sample something.
Yeah, there was like a couple things that I was curious about, and he's like, "I'll just give you a sample." And I thought that was like just we talk about hospitality a lot. I thought that was like really special. Just like, yeah, here you go.
Yeah, that's really those experiences are so fun. They oftentimes for me can kind of make the trip.
100%.
I had a similar experience at Monic Brewing
Yes.
in
Yep.
Schnitzelberg.
We were
one of
there a
the-
few hours after you.
Yeah, that's right. In the German neighborhood. There's a lot of interesting neighborhoods in Louisville. I'd like to go back and do a little further exploration. But, I was looking, and I should have known when I started looking at breweries on my own before the trip, it came up, but it was kind of like south. So it was like by Louisville standards, in comparison to the other kind of concentrations
Yes,
of areas we
pretty
were going,
far out of the way.
it was a little off the beaten path. So I'm like, I'll go there on my own. And I went there for lunch, and the bartender was awesome.
Yeah.
The regulars that I was chatting with were awesome. Another bartender who I wound up seeing 2 more times on the trip. Once at Monic again because it was very close to the airport, and another time at the Hilltop Tavern, which was I discovered the last night. Thank God, because they had an insanely balls out bourbon list, and it was all very affordable.
It's nickel shot night.
Yeah,
We're
pretty
gonna
much.
die.
Well, somebody when I was at Hilltop, somebody ordered an old fashioned. They said I'll have an Eagle Rare old fashioned,
And you said, come again?
and I'm like, what?
I'll have what he's having.
What is? He's like, oh, tonight the old fashioned special is Eagle Rare. It's $8.
Pardon?
Eagle Rare old fashioned for $8. I'm like, what year is it? Did I wake up? Is this 1950? And then I'm like, well, how much for just like a neat pour of Eagle Rare? He's like, $8.
Stop.
And I had to have a talk with my liver. I said, "Okay, buddy, I know I've been
Cowboy
asking a
up
lot of you
cupcake.
lately, but you're gonna have to, dig deep."
Right.
That was really fun. But Monic was great because I was talking to the general manager, and once he found out I was like a beer writer podcaster, he's like, "Would you like to see the brew house?" And I got to meet the brewer, the assistant brewer. They're really cool people.
Their beers were great.
The beers were solid from I think by the time I wound up going there twice, so I wound up trying everything. But it was just so good, and the food was good. And then I had a pour of. They have this great bourbon selection. That was the other thing I was going to say. If you go to Louisville and you are like, it's a little weird being from Minnesota, where
Yes,
you have a
it's very
clear
weird.
demarcation of like breweries.
Yeah.
Versus brew pubs. In brew pubs, you can have cocktails, but not in breweries. Going into these breweries where they have a better bourbon selection than some of the self-proclaimed great bourbon bars in
right.
the
It's hard
Twin
to choose.
Cities.
It's hard to choose.
It's like, oh my gosh, this
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah.
So Monic was my kind of hidden gem that I really enjoyed, and I wound up going back again. But like the lunch special, all their like small plates were like half price.
Their food
So I
was
got like roasted
food was
rainbow carrots, and like it just like the food was
those, right?
so excellent. It was so yummy.
Rick, you wanted to talk about Shipping Port.
I did want to talk about Shipping Port just because that was another really cool spot that I think we all kind of knew that it was gonna be good, but I don't want to speak for the whole group, but I don't really think a lot of us knew what we were getting into when we went there.
Yeah.
And we had a kind of surreal experience, I think, because that was on Sunday morning, right?
It was.
It was on Sunday morning, so
Well, listen, I don't want to lead
post
people
the
aside. Okay, it was noon.
Sergio's Fiesta del Cha-Cha of
Yeah.
dusty bottles and Belgian wonders.
and everything wonders. But
Yes.
I think what was interesting was that we kind of converged on them on Sunday at noon. Sorry, not Sunday morning.
Sorry, Mom and Dad.
And I know that I was definitely, like, when I got there, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, like the last 2 days, I mean, we have tied it on, like, consistently, And my first beverage was a Topo Chico, which is an actual mineral water that I adore.
Closed circuit to Tiffany.
And Michelle, I think, had gotten the same thing, and we cheers, and I was just like, man, like I need a minute here before we just delve back in. Like, we hit like 6 breweries the day before or something goofy, plus drinks at the hotel bar at night. It's just like
the hotel bar.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, I just need some Topo Chico in my veins, please. But because of that, I just kind of like wandered around. I took a lot of pictures of the Breweryana. They had tons of these old steins, and I love old German beer steins. They're so cool. But the space in and of itself was like a big garage, it was like a
Really
warehouse.
small. Yeah,
and it was
female
small.
run, female brewed.
Yeah, women owned and operated, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think that it's good that our group, we generally seek out places like that. We seek out the more unique, interesting places that are not just the status quo of what craft beer generally is. And honestly, looking at the menu, I was kind of like, I don't know about this. Like, everything seemed to have like rose hips and like marjoram, and I know. I work at Wood and Ship, and I have no reason to say anything about stuff like that.
A lot of unique offerings.
But I was like, man, I don't really know. But then I got my first half pour, and I think it was the freshly tapped Belgian double, and I think it had like rose hip and a couple other like herbs in it.
Yeah.
And I was just, and not like a gruet. Like, that was the thing. Like, they were like, no, this is a Belgian double, but we've put these things in here intentionally to like bring this flavor and aroma out of this beer. And I mean, I was floored. I sat down with it, and I was just like, I love Belgian doubles. I was like, this is remarkable. And I can't believe that you've put these things into here, and they've taken an already amazing style of beer that you've made very well, and you've just taken it to 11. I just felt like the approach to creativity in terms of how they were making their beer there, but not just being gimmicky for the sake of gimmick.
Right. That's what I was going to add. I thought every special ingredient or little twist seemed like very purposeful.
Yeah.
And like, this is going to accentuate this aroma or texture or flavor in the beer.
Right.
I just thought it was
an ingredient,
really,
not just
really
like
marvelous.
Flavor.
Yeah. It wasn't just like, here's the banana milkshake IPA. We picked these things intentionally because we feel like they work really well with us.
Yeah. And you two do, like, you understand that there is a relationship, if you're open to it, between food and beer. And I just thought that was like, I mean, can you imagine doing a pop-up residency at Shippingport? I mean, that'd be so fun.
It reminded me of like, did you ever go to Band of Bohemia before they closed?
No.
When you went to Chicago? No. Okay. I think they closed right before you went there with with the Lupulin Boys.
Yes, the Lupulin Boys.
Yeah. But it was very culinary like that, where they would, it wasn't always like, okay, here's a beer, what should we pair with it? It was more of a two-way street of like, we're going to make this food, or this ingredient is in season, what should we brew with it? It was much more like, what's the word? It was more balanced in terms of like
supercilious.
Ingredients and flavors were coming from both places. It wasn't like, here's a classic beer style, what's the classic pairing? It was more like, we made this thing with this herb or spice or well, that's what it reminded me of.
And it's
very avant-garde, I thought.
Yeah.
Very unique.
And it's cool because, like, in the culinary world, like, you talk about pairing things, and it's often like, you can tweak dishes. You can't often tweak a beverage.
Once it's done.
Once it's done, yeah. Once the beverage is done, like, if
unless it's Four Loko, you just pour vodka in there. It's a totally different experience.
But like, you can always say, like, if you can create a dish and say, well, these are the wines or the beers we think that would go good, and then maybe you taste everything all together, and you're like, we gotta mess with the dish, because the beverage is done. We can't play with that anymore.
Yeah.
So then you might pull more acid or salinity or sweetness. You might just modify the dish to pair with the beverage. But what's really interesting with places like Band Bohemia, or in this case, shipping port. I always want to say shipping yard, isn't that
Shipping port.
Shipping port. You kind of have the ability to play with both things at the same time.
Yeah.
And it seemed like their system was small enough that they were rotating beers real quick.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think when they were there, they added a new one on.
They
They're like,
did.
This just kicked, so we, which I like that. I think that's,
That's so exciting when you see a new beer come on.
Right.
oh yeah.
like, I want that. I don't even
Like they
care what it
move
is.
the
I want
thing
that.
off the board.
Yeah.
They, scratch out the chalk. And
Yeah.
Heavy rotation is like that.
Yes.
It's such a small system. They're
Yeah.
constantly putting more stuff on.
Yep,
And I
that's right.
appreciate that as just somebody who likes variety.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the people there. Like, it was really nice to see. It was fun because we got a smattering of people kind of rolling in from different places. Who do you think enjoyed this the most?
That's a good question.
I mean,
I think different people enjoyed it for different reasons. I
Yeah.
think Michelle is incredibly social.
Yep.
And I think Hamilton likes watching Michelle be incredibly social. I think it was fun. There was one person there who had never met any of us, and that was Amy, Brian's
Right.
wife.
Yes. Yeah.
And she seemed to really, really enjoy herself.
Yeah.
And so
She
that's
seemed like a really
different.
go with the flow
Yep.
type of person.
Jeff and Chris, it seemed like they really liked getting out of their, like, it seemed like they really liked reconnecting with everyone. I know they've had a lot of transitions and things going on, and so they seem to really enjoy it. Charles always just seems to have like the lowest key time of his life all the time.
Yes.
I don't know. I think
And always
I
loves
feel-
to talk shop.
Yeah.
No matter how many people are behind him in line waiting for a beer, it's just kind of,
he's like always getting a
Also,
flight.
he
Right,
didn't
yeah.
have
Proverbially speaking.
He didn't
Yeah.
have the app of Messenger on his phone.
Oh my gosh.
So we were like, "Where is
He was
Charles?"
missing,
Like, well,
yeah.
you should be here soon. Like, he didn't. It was like,
You're
and then
right.
Carol was like, "Well,
You're
he doesn't
right.
have the app on his phone, so he's not getting any of these messages."
Right.
He was just kind of funny. Just
my
kind
gosh.
I feel like Dave was kind of in like party mode all weekend, and I love that for
He
him.
kept going out to that blues bar. I'd be like,
that's
I
right.
get up the next morning. He's like, "Yeah, I didn't get in till 3:30. I went to
I'm like, Dave,
Johnny
did we not put enough
Bravo's or
on the
whatever the hell it
itinerary
was
for
called."
you?
I mean, one of the first at Atrium, actually, I remember when we all got there, and I feel like everybody was being like, it's the first brewery of the day, right? So everyone, I felt like, was being like pretty conservative. Like, we were getting like flights and like sharing small pours stuff. And just Dave comes out with like a pint. He's like,
Where was this?
That Atrium, and,
Oh.
and he said something like, "Yeah, I'm already on my second pint of the day or whatever."
Tries to get us all to go up to the rooftop,
I
which
know.
was like an easy bake
Oh
oven.
yeah, that was
It was
like,
like under a black
I know,
tarp.
and it was
I didn't
like-
know this
I
was
like-
owned by the people who invented the air fryer.
I was like, jeez, we're all going to turn into chicken nuggets up here.
Yeah,
And then you opened up your mystery book.
I opened up my mystery
That
book,
was
which I
fantastic.
have not started reading yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. It's sitting on the desk. I will get into
June
it
and Kendall seemed to
eventually.
enjoy it too. Kendall
He
was
did,
the
yeah.
only person who knew Louisville.
Yeah,
Okay.
He'd been there
intimate.
before.
He had good knowledge.
Only Rick and Kendall had been there before.
Yep.
Okay.
Rick briefly and Kendall had been there for work before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's an observation that I have about June. June is insanely hilarious.
Yes,
yeah.
she's very funny.
Like,
Absolutely.
Yes. It comes out of nowhere.
I'd never noticed it before.
Yeah.
And then one time we were sitting somewhere. Oh, we were talking about because after we became comfortable like walking around, we noticed that our hotel was sandwiched between two gentlemen's clubs, and
true.
somebody said something about going to the. I don't know what they said. I heard Donut Club,
Oh my gosh.
but somebody
would've loved that.
somebody said Gentlemen's Club or like Nudie Club or something. I heard. I don't know why I heard donut. And something she said like, well, I don't know if they have donuts, but you're gonna find holes there. And I was like, what? Where did this
said
come
that?
from? She's hilarious.
Oh
she
my
she
gosh.
fired off a couple. That's what she said, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh my
She's
gosh.
good. She's good.
So now I follow her on Instagram. She's constantly posting hilarious
yeah,
memes.
she does. She has
Just-
like the Overheard downtown. She has these really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
that's-
very funny.
That was and that
There was
I
not
guess,
a bad egg in the bunch.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
everybody had a fun time.
Yeah.
Carol had a lot of energy.
Yes, and I
That
think
was-
it was nice for her to reconnect with everyone. I hadn't really gotten to know her before, so
Yeah.
So she's been doing this for a long while.
Well,
it sounds
she had
like.
been at some of the beer nows over the years, but I think on and off, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't know exactly what cities, but I know I've met her on and off over the
Same,
years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of. It was just fun to see.
I mean, I think a lot of us hadn't been at like consistently every single one. But.
Yeah. My favorite thing is after Jeff has a few beers.
Oh my word.
I mean,
He has really hard opinions. Like when he couldn't find the cat at Gravely, he really wanted to find that cat.
right?
He really wanted to find
He was
that cat.
ready to.
And you know,
he
the
was
more
ready,
you want to find a cat, the less likely you are to find the cat.
He was ready to just drag that whole organization because he couldn't find this damn
He thought it
cat.
didn't exist. I was
And
like,
then
there's food and water out for this cat.
All of us we're just like, it's fine. The cat's gonna show up. Like, don't worry. He's like, there's got to be a cat here somewhere.
Really quick, what was your favorite distillery? Besides, I don't think it's
I was
fair
gonna
to
say-
really
no, I
put
was gonna say
Copper and
besides
King in
Copper and
the
Kings. I was going to ask you
in
the
that
same
mix.
Mine was Michter's, personally. Although
Okay.
I know we went to different distilleries. Okay, so I'll just say we went to Copper and Kings together, and then Rick and I went to Peerless on the first day, Michter's later, and they could not have been more different in distilling philosophy, science, experience, the whole deal. Because Peerless is doing like everything on site. Michter's is doing most things at a different location, but also on site. Michter's is putting their things in really low proof. Peerless is putting their things in really high proof, both intentionally. Yada yada yada. I liked the spirits more at Michter's,
How
and I
was the
liked.
bisque?
I mentioned Fisk, and I thought the Peerless tour guide was on the newer side. I think he did a nice job.
Do you remember his name?
Something that was patently false. It was like a noun. Season, Lefton, Crichton.
I keep saying words. This is fun.
Veneer, yes.
Veneer.
No, he did a perfectly nice job. He just said one thing that was patently false that I know from another distillery tour, and so that kind of like bugged me.
Okay, yeah.
But like, I don't blame him. He was brand new, blah blah blah. Nobody cares except me.
Okay.
Michter's I thought was also not like a perfect. Anyway, I like the spirits at Michter's better. Someone else talk.
So kind of going back to like your experience at a place will be totally oftentimes a big part of whether you enjoyed something or didn't is influenced by either who your bartender is or who your tour guide is.
No question.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do Peerless, and I did Peerless on Thursday morning.
Okay. We did it with Charles and Carol on Monday.
Oh, fun.
And we
Okay.
had a great time.
Yeah.
And I had a guy who he's probably done this 1,000 times.
I saw your pictures. I was like, dang, I wish I had that guy.
And we had a great time. So I thought that was really cool. I also had a great time at Angel's Envy. I forgot I had chosen the like Barrel Select tour,
Ooh.
and I was with this. It was just me and this other couple from Indiana, and they knew a ton about bourbon.
Really?
So I just like
Cool.
I didn't say like a word. I just listened and just like kept writing stuff, trying to write notes on my phone with my sausage thumbs, and everything kept coming out wrong.
Your
I finally
Idaho
just
toes.
threw it in. It's like, why was I born with russet potatoes for appendages? Yowza. But that was really cool. The tasting portion of that, when we got to try some
Yeah, the
really
tastings
cool
were really interesting.
Yeah.
Barrel Select things, and every distillery had chocolates to go
What?
with the bourbons.
Who? What distilleries had chocolates?
Ours didn't.
What?
You didn't get
I
chocolates?
didn't have a
didn't get
single
chocolate.
I had a fucking I had a jelly bean.
You're allowed to swear. It's okay. You got a fucking
Wait, where'd you get
bean.
jelly beans?
I had one jelly bean at
Yeah.
Michter's.
At Michter's, yeah.
Wait,
Oh,
you had chocolates at Fearless?
oh wait.
didn't get
Okay, now that
chocolates.
you
Season
mentioned
or whatever his name was, let me down.
at his name was Grapple Johnston. No, I should say
Do you remember his name?
we
Two
got
syllables, it's a noun. Like a noun that would be legitimate in Scrabble. Anyway, I did not have chocolates.
we got chocolates at Angel's Envy, and we got chocolates at Old Forester.
I
Jealous.
didn't
So I
do
guess
either of
two.
those tours.
Oh, the Old Forester one was cool because they do everything there. They build their barrels there.
Yeah.
Cool.
They char their
That's the
barrels
one I wish
there.
we had done
Also
the
really
most.
cool.
Like that was really cool. And then we got to try 4 different beers or 4.
Yeah.
Did
Excuse
you
me.
go to Buzzard's Roost?
No.
Okay, my coworker said that was one of his favorite places to
Oh,
go.
okay. See, that's why I want to go back because
Me
they didn't
too.
make it to Rabbit Hole either, and I've heard good things about that place.
Great things, but their hours are wacky.
Okay.
You never know. I could not tell when they're open.
Yeah,
We're
so
gonna
I
have
mean,
to go back.
I'd like
Yeah.
to go back, and if I went back to Louisville, I would definitely rent a car so I could go to like
Yeah.
Four Roses, Buffalo Trace.
said the same.
But I think like for the amount of time we were there, that wouldn't have renting a car would have been silly.
No, silly.
Yeah.
Because you could go neighborhood by neighborhood.
Right. Yeah. So it's just interesting. I think that's something to really understand how the Bourbon Trail works, and then once you have that knowledge, you could really plan a really nice. I mean, you'd need like a week because the distilleries are not like breweries. You can't do
No.
4 in a day.
No.
Right.
So you really have to like
I
pace
would
it
say
out.
like 2 max.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Louisville, give it on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate that experience?
What are we judging on?
That's
Like
a good
travel
question.
ability? Like just enjoyment?
Pure enjoyment, amenities, food. I mean, I guess we didn't really talk about food. Rick, you were with me when I had a Kentucky hot brown for the first
yeah.
time.
That's true.
You guys
My
had your
eyes
little
rolled
boys'
back in my
breakfast.
head, and I
Yeah.
started speaking in tongues. That was amazing.
Thankfully, the
There was no
wait
snake.
staff.
There was no snakes involved.
Well, the
I
wait
just
staff
petrified.
are professionally trained to deal with such situations.
That's
and
right.
They handled it with absolute grace.
They're like,
It
must
was-
be another
yeah.
Minnesotan.
She had a
having
really cold
Kentucky hot
glass of
brown.
water. She was ready to
Yeah,
splash
just-
in my face.
Yeah, so.
And actually, I wound up, because Kendall got those chicken tenders, I did go back to
What?
Against the Grain for
I
lunch.
love a sentence
Oh, the
that
chicken
starts
tendies.
out because Kendall got those chickens.
No, at the first lunch, the
Yes.
on
Against the Grain.
Friday.
Against the grain.
He got these chicken tenders that were like,
They looked amazing.
I think in my article I said they looked like they had been
The breading.
harvested from condors on human growth hormones.
But the breading,
They were
it looked
ginormous.
Like, it looked like like almost like KFC, but like
Yeah.
in a home style.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were quite good. So, if you ever go to Louisville, go to Against the Grain, have some chicken
Get some
tenders.
chicken
They're
tenders.
phenomenal. I think we need to talk about at least one food experience that we really enjoyed.
Holy Grail. Holy Grail. Food.
Holy Grail.
BLT.
Holy Grail, but I will
BLT.
throw a hat in the ring for that Cuban restaurant. I mean, oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
La
everyone,
Bodeguita.
yeah, Bodeguita,
Bodeguita.
everybody recommended the
service.
place, and I got to admit, it's one of those places where I felt like, is this a tourist trap? I
You
don't
did?
know. Yeah, because it was on. Everyone was talking about it, and like we drove by it and scooted by it and walked by it
But
so
a
many
lot
times.
of people were
and I
not
was-
speaking English.
Right,
I know. It
right.
was like mostly Cubans in there.
And I was like looking at the place. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I feel like this could just
gosh,
be
I did not
like,
feel like
this
that at all.
could be. Well, it was the type of place where I'm like, this could go one way or the other. Either this is going to be like big time gringo bullshit
No.
that sucks, or it's going to be the most authentic experience. And I
It
mean,
was
I
the
don't.
second one.
I don't say that I know a lot about Cuban food, but I will say that we were some of the few, Paige and I, white folks in there.
Thanks for,
And
for not putting Dan in our Bermuda Triangle of whiteness.
and I mean, there was all kinds of stuff going on. I mean, they're like the people, like the music was amazing. There was like
The saxophone player.
the
Oh my
saxophone
gosh,
player was
she was so
fantastic.
good.
Our like the
Server
food
was great.
The server was amazing. The food was phenomenal.
Oh, that
I mean,
food was
oh my
wonderful.
Gosh, like I'm still dreaming about it. Like that.
Yeah.
If I had to tell someone like go to one restaurant in Louisville, like I would definitely.
It depends
say,
on what you're looking
hit
for.
that
Like,
spot.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think Holy Grail was like really, really good Belgian pub food. Like,
Mm-hmm.
not. I hesitate to even say pub food,
Yeah, it was severely elevated from
Yeah.
Very
what you would
good.
consider.
but like
pub
such
food.
a good, nice place to land on a first night in town.
Yep.
And then the Bodeguita was like, okay, we've seen some shit. We think this pink building is going to be great, and it was.
Yeah.
What about you?
I thought. Well, I was gonna say La Bodeguita was probably my most exciting meal. A close second was Feast Barbecue.
Yes.
I thought
Yes.
that brisket was out of this world.
Really good.
And I got the collard greens and the mac and cheese.
Yeah, collards were really
Oh, my
vinegary.
God.
Yes.
Yep. So those were two good things.
Paige, where did we go as our like super late anniversary lunch?
Yes. Yes, it was black-owned, James Beard Nod. It was down south of Monic, just south of Monic. We recommended it to Dan.
You made a reservation and everything.
Oh, it was
did.
like
Yes.
Creole, right?
Yeah,
New Orleans inspired. Yep.
I'm forgetting the name. I will look right now.
That was also fantastic. We went there for lunch, and yeah, like I think Louisville overall, and I think a lot of people have been talking about it too, like in the food and like chef kind of world. It's like there's all these not untapped, but these like undiscovered markets, and I definitely think Louisville is one of those. I think it's a food destination for sure. You could plan a trip there and just do breweries.
Wasn't it Lulu?
Lulu, yeah. You could plan a trip there and just do breweries. You could just do distilleries, or you could just do restaurants. I mean, if we had an extra week there, I think there would have been.
Lulu is where we had a casual lunch. That was New Orleans. That was like we had
you're right.
she crab stew.
Yep, which was also really
Hold
good.
on, I'll keep digging.
Yeah, it'll come up. I just think that like I think the initial question was like overall, and I mean, I'd say 9 out of 10 only because I don't think it's always like fair to say 10 out of 10. It's hard to pick a 10 out of 10 place, but I think the things that were tough, the hardest thing for me in Louisville was honestly a little bit of the geography. I would look at a map. I was telling this to Paige. I was like, sometimes I look at a map and it's like 5 blocks and it's like a 45-minute walk. And sometimes I look at a map and it's 5 blocks and it's like a 3-minute walk.
Right.
And that's really confusing. Like, as someone who typically, like, you see, okay, 5 blocks, that's good. You know, this will take me 10 minutes to walk from here to here. And then it's like, you Google it and the first thing that comes up is a Lyft recommendation. I'm like, well, shit, I thought it was right around the corner.
Yeah.
There was one day where we were scrambling I think it was our last night in town, and we were taking Lime scooters, and we were heading to a distillery tour. I think it was Michter's. And we were like,
North of Bourbon. Sorry.
I've
re-entered the chat. It's called North of Bourbon.
Back online.
I'm sorry that took me so long. I'm embarrassed. The chef's name is Lawrence Weeks, and it was a really, really good experience.
Yes.
Really great food. Super small, wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, tiny little spot, really, really cool. So yeah, I mean, all that to say, like, I think to give it a numerical value, yeah, like 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I'd agree with that.
Would go back.
I would go at a cooler time of year.
I know.
The humidity.
It was very humid. Well, and I felt
love
like
to walk and be outside, and it was hard to.
I don't know if it always rains there, but I feel like we got kind of screwed over with the amount of rain.
Yeah.
That's how I wound up going to Evan Williams. I was walking down the street, and a torrential downpour happened, and I was like, I didn't have an umbrella, so I was going from tree to tree, building overhang to building overhang. Finally, I'm like, I'm just going in here. Oh, it's Evan Williams. I pop in, and they're like, are you here for the tour? I'm like, I am now.
When we were at Noble Funk, I was like, I hope Dan is indoors. We went inside a hotel where I'm pretty sure we got a tour from a ghost, and then that was like where we ducked into when it was raining. It was,
nice.
And then when we went to Noble Funk, and then while we were there, it got way worse. Like I was like, I'm worried our plane's gonna be delayed. That's how bad it was.
But the ghost tour, as in the ghost gave us the tour. It wasn't a ghost, like, you know.
Okay, not like people in costumes. Okay.
Right. No, like we were given a tour by. I'm convinced he was a ghost.
I agree.
Because listen, we have small bladders. We were talking about the seal earlier.
I'm thinking about peeing right now.
Right. It doesn't exist when it comes to us, especially when you travel. You visit breweries, distilleries, all that. It's like the seal is gone. It's not even there anymore. The warranty is void, et cetera, et cetera. And so we stepped into this historic old hotel.
The Seelbach Hotel.
The Seelbach Hotel.
It was on 4th Street, which
Not
I don't know if you
the
walked.
broken Seelbach Hotel.
Perfect.
Did you walk around the 4th Street area?
That's the one that went down,
4th
right?
Street Live is like kind of what it's called. There's like a partially covered part of the street. Okay.
No.
So,
would you recommend it?
Yeah.
It's a little bit like, I wouldn't. It's kind of like elements
Guy Fieri's
of
got
like,
a restaurant there.
Yeah, but it's not.
Oh, so it's like on the map to Flavortown? Is that
kind of? But then
It's
there
a
was also
destination.
a car show, and I don't know. It's a mix of touristy and also legit. So
Yeah.
I don't know, take what you will, I guess.
Yeah, that I thought. Well, so you say 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
The overall. What grade do you give Louisville?
I would probably say 8 out of 10. I think it could have been slightly more accessible in terms of public transit.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Because of I had a great time, but I feel like without a rental car, at times we felt a little bit trapped.
Yep.
And we had a hard time understanding the scale, when we were trying to get around to certain places. But, 8 out of 10 is still a passing grade by far. I would definitely go back. I was obviously looking at Zillow listings. My dad's family is from Kentucky, so I would like to learn more. My dad's, my grandpa on my dad's side moved from Kentucky. So I'd like to learn a little bit more maybe about where they were from.
Okay.
But, I don't know, the end of our trip, we had a really weird, experience because we were staying kind of far out and our concert got partially rated. So we had a bit of an annoying last night.
Who are you seeing in concert
We
again?
saw Charlie Crockett and there was just bad weather.
I was telling
even though
people
it
you were
wasn't,
seeing Davy Crockett, and they were like, "That doesn't make sense."
yeah, the raccoon,
make sense at all.
the tail on his hat, and it was it got lightninged out, not even rained out, and then we had a really dangerous Uber driver who was driving the wrong way, so that was annoying. But it was really very good overall, and I would definitely go back.
Yeah. I think, there was a lot to really enjoy and like about it. I agree. I
like that it's on water. It was really cool to go across. I had a really good time when we went across to Union to play
Indiana.
games.
Yeah.
To the what was that place called?
Union.
Union
Okay. Game Yard,
Union
I
Game
think.
Yard.
Yeah.
Game Yard. Yep.
I thought the hours of places were weird. We really wanted
Totally.
to go to the Botanical Garden. Every day I wanted to go to the Botanical Garden. They were closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then on Wednesday it was raining. So just little things that as a tourist, the hours can make or break your wanderability.
Also, I thought,
say.
given the fact that we were staying at the Whiskey Row, Cambria,
Yes.
that their hotel bar would be open until later than 10.
And their coffee shop closed
Yeah.
at 2 or 11:30.
the Jackdaw.
I think that was a little bit of a tough thing especially for our crew, and especially it's a whiskey. I thought the hotel was great. I think the only note, literally, that I would have is that you're a hotel
On the
bar.
weekend?
You're a hotel bar on the weekend on Whiskey Row. You advertise every time you turn around in that hotel, there's a glass of whiskey, and then you walk up to the bar at 9:30, and they're like, "Hi, last call." It's just kind of
I know. That
really,
was a
man?
buzzkill.
You're like, yeah, it's kind of like
I'm sleeping here.
Yeah, you're like, I'm sleeping here. It's and I get it. We all gotta set boundaries, whatever. But it's I'm not asking for them to be open till 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
but
just
it's
11.
midnight?
That'd be 11 or midnight. It would
when
be
it was
perfect.
when the whole crew of us, we almost had everybody in our group sitting at the hotel bar.
Oh, yeah.
And they just started handing out our tabs, and all of us were like,
you're turning your back on a couple $100.
That's right.
I think every one of us is we would totally do another round, but I guess
right.
that's it. Night's done.
Yeah, I would say just little things like that, the lack of clarity at some distilleries. Do you have a bar, or do you only have tours, or do you have an actual restaurant, or is it just a sample menu? It's, as someone who planned the trip, it was just hard to tell if you could walk into a place or not, which is a big deal with you if you're traveling with a group.
Yeah. Well, that's what I ran into at Michter's. You could go up to the cocktail bar.
Which we really enjoyed that.
But then you
we had
had
a good time
a
up
limited amount of time.
Yes.
It's
I know. It was really easy to do as 2 of us, but impossible as 12 of us. Which is understandable, but if we would have known that ahead of time, I would have felt better about it.
And I think it was Michter's that we had tried with our group.
Exactly.
And they
Yep,
said,
that was right after the Louisville
the Slugger Museum, which was super fun.
That was cool.
And at Michter's, they said, well, we can split you guys up into, was it 6?
2 groups of 6, but it would still be half
And
an hour.
they said, well, one of you can sit down in 20 minutes, and then the
That's
next
right.
group will sit down in an hour. And we were like, well, no, we're a whole group here,
Right, yes.
And that's fine. I understand you have finite space. It doesn't,
It's
it doesn't
what would
always make
happen in
sense.
Lord of the Rings if you told Gandalf, okay, you can't leave for 25 minutes, but we have to get to Mordor. That would have just been a complete disaster. Well, so Louisville, Kentucky, highly rated place.
Yes.
Would go back again.
Yes.
Yep.
And, Paige, I know you played quite a significant role in planning the reunion retreat reconnoitering. The
We're still
reconnoitering of
retooling
2024.
on the name.
Yeah. We'll workshop some ideas. We'll talk to the ghost from the hotel.
Yeah, he'll give us something.
But I thought it was just absolutely fabulous. So, and I'd be, maybe next time around we can rein in a couple other Beer Now alumnus.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it would be really hilarious to get the Jansen brothers.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
We reached out to them. We reached out to Carla. I know Dan had a conflict. I know Huck had an obvious conflict. So, yeah I'm hoping if we do a different weekend that we can get other people.
Yeah. So it was very fun. Well, and this is, we're here at Steel Toe in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. And it's
Yeah,
their
they're in the middle of
anniversary week. That's why it sounds like we're
at a livestock auction.
broadcasting from a livestock auction. Wee! Hey-o! Yeah, so I want to thank you guys for carving a little time out of your, what night is it? Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. This week.
Wednesday. Yes, I have one day left in the summer of
my
Dan,
gosh,
and
I was
then go
gonna
back to
ask
workshop
you.
week. So I want to thank you both for sitting down to talk beer and relive the memories of our wonderful trip to Louisville.
Yes.
One last thing. When we went to the Burger and Muscle Bar, do you remember the look on the waiter's face when he's like, now, you are aware that this burger comes with an egg that's sunny side up. And I said, in all seriousness, I'm like, that's perfect, because the last time I ordered a burger with an egg on it, they tried to serve it moon side up, and I almost flipped the table. And everybody else laughed. And this
The look
dude
on that
looked at
server's
me
face.
like, I've heard that joke a billion times. And that just made it all the more enjoyable for
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
So,
That's just encouragement to you.
yeah. So this has been another wonderful beer chat with two great friends at Steel Toe Brewing, talking about our Louisville Beercation, Bourboncation.
Yes.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Rick and Paige are dear friends of mine. I wish everyone could have been a fly on the wall with us as we traversed the ins and outs of everything Louisville had to offer. We absolutely had a wonderful time. I love traveling with Rick and Paige because they are some of the funniest, kindest, and most intelligent people that you could possibly be with when it comes to taking in all the wonders of a new city. As you heard, Louisville is a great place, and I definitely will be going back. Between the beer, the bourbon, and the people, I found myself really enjoying my time there, and the 8 days absolutely flew by. Earlier in the episode, I mentioned that a One Pint Stand started a Patreon. Well, one of the perks at the Keg Stander supporter level is a personal thanks to those who are Patreon supporters at the Keg Stander level. So I want to give a huge thank you from the bottom of my glass and heart to our 5 awesome Keg Stander supporters: Daniel Fisher, Todd Fitzloff, Brent Newman, Bree Smith, and Sarah Cry-Valento. Your generous support is so appreciated. I love putting this show together, and the fact that you all care about it in the way that you do is truly heartwarming. I'm cooking up a pretty fun perk for the Keg Stander level supporters to further increase the wonderment of the show. So stay tuned in October for a fun announcement of a little wrinkle that I think you all will enjoy. So thank you a million times over for being so wonderful. I'm really happy to report that while we don't have a sponsor for this episode, I do have some sponsors lined up for October, November, and December. So that is major news. I know a lot of people in the craft beer and beverage industry listen to this show, and it is a great way to get the word out about events happening at breweries or different businesses in and around craft beer. So if you know of a craft beer-centric business that's looking to gain some exposure or get the word out, then maybe have them get in touch with me about the possibility of sponsoring the show. If you feel like a One Pint Stand would be a good way to advertise what's happening at your brewery, cidery, distillery, or beverage adjacent business, I'm definitely willing to work with people on a sponsorship package that is realistic and feasible. So you can message me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, or you can email me directly at a1pintstand@gmail.com. With that, this has been another episode of A One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast where the pants stay on, but the caps come off. Cheers.
So I thought we would start off talking about the Louisville trip, and then
It's funny. That's why we were here.
Whoa.
this is fabulous.
I thought we were
B-roll.
trading stock
This
tips.
is good. This is good. Well, you know, like I say,
Prepared.
buy lands. They're not making any more of them. Unless you went to Radio Shack recently, there you can get all sorts of land equipment.